This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it is your old buddy Rob with another countdown. And what are we talking about today? Well, top 5 games that I was looking forward to but turned out to be bitterly disappointed. Now, before we even go into this is not a knock on a company, on a game, or anything like that, because actually one of these games is in my top 50, and I'm going to explain to you why I was disappointed about it. Some of them, they're going to take it right straight in the mouth with a left hook, and that's for sure. But these are games that, some of them are classics, but some of them, I just remember feeling, oh, wow, that's it? Now, did they get better with expansions and things like that? Possibly. Did they not do expansions which made them not that great? Well, why don't we take a look? We have top 5. I decided to keep this at 5 because I could probably ramble on. Plus, I don't want to tick off as many people as I want to. At number 5. From Games Workshop. Yes, as much as I love Games Workshop, they have done some things that I've scratched my head with. And at number 5 is Epic 40K. Now, why do you say Epic 40K? A lot of people love that game. First of all, being an old traditionalist and being there from the very beginning, when they came out with Titan and Space Marine and all that other stuff, where you had those little, being able to do things on an epic grand scale, and then we heard that they were doing a second edition and calling it Epic 40K. The models looked so much better. They were so much more beautiful, but they dumbed all the rules down. They took all the cool things out about it, and then on top of it, they never came out with any expansions for it. So it was absolutely heartbreaking. And then taking away the Titans and everything, and downsizing things, and just what they did is they made the game too simple, where the original game was very in-depth. It was full of strategy. You wanted to you would try to fill up a table, an 8 by 12, which we did, where we had 4 people aside with 100,000 points, and it was just an afternoon of complete fun. Of course, you never finished the game, but boy, was it fun. So when they came out with this new edition, it was really, really heart-wrenching that they had dumbed everything down. At number 4, another Games Workshop game. Okay, this one might come as a bit of a shock, and that is Battlefleet Gothic. Now, I love Battlefleet Gothic, and it's definitely in my top 100. But the biggest thing that bothered me was, instead of coming out with expansions, they would bring out some different fleet, but really not do anything or have an expansion box or anything like that with it. The game was kind of simplified again. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And like I said, it's in my top 100. And I love the models. They were gorgeous, especially when they came out with the whole Necron fleet. But if you wanted to learn anything, you had to go get the little magazine that they would come out with, or follow everything in Games Workshop. When it would have been nice that when they came out with that original set and we played the heck out of it, that they came out with a couple of more expansion boxes, complete fleets inside it, even giant fleet boxes full of things. I mean, I would have paid the money for it. It was a game that I think they could have made a lot deeper, and especially in that universe. That universe, I don't care what you do, they come out with it, it will suck you in. Take a look at Shadowspire. They will suck you in every single time. And it's not a bad thing. They do a great job at what they do. It's just, during that period of time, it was dumb everything down time. And they just didn't realize that not only were there hobbyists and painters and people that liked to collect, but there were gamers that wanted a meaty, good solid game behind all the beauty that came with it. So at number 4 was Battlefleet Gothic. At number 3, for me, a game that disappointed beyond human belief was Second Front. Now, Second Front is a huge World War II game, and I mean epic beyond human belief. When they announced that they were making this box, and it was the entire front, because the big thing with Europa, and for a lot of you war gamers, so this is going to go over some people's heads that aren't war gamers, there was a thing called Grand Europa. Grand Europa was a fantastic idea, where you can lay out on probably a 12 by 12 the entire world and be able to fight the entire world. And that's what Grand Europa was. The key component was going to be the Second Front. The problem was the game was broken. People really gravitated to Fire in the East, Case White. All these games were great mini games that kind of were different parts of the components. One was Norway, one was Africa, the other France, all these little box sets, Russia, and then the big Europe battle with all the beach landings, and the game was broken. The units were wrong, there were things that were inaccurate, and it ticked a lot of people off, and particularly me, where it was really hard to get people to try to come play something, and if it's broken and you spend all that time setting it up and you go, uh-oh, this is way broken. Second Front was a big disappointment. At number 2, I went to my very first Gen Con, and I was so excited. I was overwhelmed and blown away a couple of years ago. The game that everybody talked about, whispered about, we're making secret plans to get their hands on. We're trying to pay people off, trying to sneak a copy. Reviewers were, hey, I'm this guy, can I get a copy? And all those other little things was Seafall. And when you played Seafall finally, you went, now don't get me wrong, this is the same guy that has done other legacy games. Rob has done a fantastic job with them. But everybody lays an egg once in a while. People did not like Seafall, and I think you can get Seafall and, oh God, maybe a burger and fries for maybe $10 now. Maybe that's a little harsh, but people didn't like it. It was long, it didn't go anywhere, and it was disappointing. And oh yeah, I gave away my copy. Ooh, that's bad when I give something away that I don't that I didn't even open. But again, this was very disappointing when I finally got a look at it. I was really disappointed because it was something that I really felt that was going to be a great legacy game, and it just didn't work. These things happen. These things happen. The number 1 greatest disappointment of all time, I'm going to throw this thing away because I'm just getting aggravated thinking about it, was a game I was so charged up about. I followed the anime for, it's one of the oldest animes ever made, and when they announced that this game was coming out, I was so excited I couldn't even contain myself. And what that game, well, I'm going to tell you what that game is. That game was Robotech, not Battletech. I choked myself if I said Battletech was a horrible game. Robotech, I mean, where do I even start with this? First of all, you open up the box and you're jacked because you got all the stuff inside. But oh my God, you needed a science degree to put together the pieces. I still have a set where I bought 2 sets and I bought all the expansions for it. Number 1, it was so hard to put everything together that you're sitting there and it's taking you hours just to put things together. The instructions were horrible on how to put it together. The game was mediocre at best, which was disappointing. It's something that we still want to get to the table and put on tape, but it is just so difficult when you have a game that is so just overwhelming disappointing. And then let's not even go about expansions. They came out with expansions full of different things that with the original release, but all the things that they promised never came out. I went to Gen Con the last 2 years and I saw them there and I said, hey, are you guys going to come out with these expansions? Because there was still hope. There was still hope that you can maybe get all these other things and kind of salvage this and maybe it turn out to be the way, because you want to give everything every single chance that you could. And that's the way I was with every single of these games on the list. They came out with more stuff. You hope that if the things that you were disappointed with, that they would fix, change, or make a little bit better, and it just never happened. And all the real cool things that they were supposed to come out with, they just never came out with after all these years. And that's why Robotech is the most disappointing game of all time. Do you agree with this list? Have I made some people annoyed? I'm sorry if I did, but this is how I feel. And it's not against the companies or the people that design, that work so hard. These were just things that I was ultimately disappointed with. And maybe it sounds like a negative countdown, but it really isn't. It's just things that just happen in gaming. There's always something. You can't like everything. At least I didn't make it top 5 games I hate. That would have been real bad. But maybe you disagree. Maybe you do agree. There's only one way to find out, and that's to leave your comments in the very bottom here and let me know what you think. Let me know some of the games that you think are disappointing that maybe should have been on this list. I'm sure there's some of them out there. And we're not here to bash anything. We're talking about a lot of games that are basically out of print, and some it's been a very long time. So I would love to see what you feel is your most disappointing game of all time. And as always, thanks so much for watching this, and until next time, I'm Rob Warren, and we'll see you soon.